have you? I don't think you've seen this yet, Lance. I know a lot of people in chat are very excited, but Ana Kasparian, she really escalated this whole beef last night live on the Young Turks. Came with
I
some
have not.
spicy words and a threat actually against not just the Vanguard, but I think specifically the Vanguard.
I think TYT is insane for not copyright striking channels who take our content from our members only bonus episode, which is intentionally behind a paywall. Just a warning to those channels, we will nuke the fuck out of you, okay? If you're gonna steal content from paywalled members only content. Just wanna say that. Anyway, weird to start with that, but come on guys. Bounds of reason, okay? It's insane when you see that happen. People steal our content all the time. We don't do anything about it. But when it comes to paywalled members only content, we're giving people exclusive members only content. That's part of membership. It's ridiculous to just steal that content. Anyway, let's get to this Netflix dating show, Love is Blind. Do you watch any of that stuff, Waz?
And what's so hilarious is she's going to later on in that episode cite an article from the Washington Post or the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal.
I bet you should play a clip from Love is Blind on the show.
And it's hilarious too, because if anybody's curious and they weren't paying attention, the clip she's reacting to was us dunking on her for taking a cheap shot at Francesca Fiorentini again behind a paywall and just debunking some of her turf arguments about how the crazy left has made it impossible for us to win because we're just so crazy. And, there's little Susie can't be taking elbows from a man during gym class, and all these things that do not freaking happen. And she wants to be able to get away with that without having any consequences, without receiving any backlash at all. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, and by the way, live on air, we didn't even realize that it was members only content. Someone sent us that and we were reacting to it. I didn't even realize it was from the bonus episode part of their show. So, it's not like it was intentional, but also to say that people are stealing our content, that's ridiculous. It's kind of just how YouTube works. It's not like we're just posting Young Turks live streams. No, we're adding our commentary, our perspective.
You're transforming it.
We're transformative. And by the way, if anyone's, we also have we actually put more of our show as members only than TYT. I think they have a bonus episode that happens, which is 30 minutes of paywalled content, which we apparently accidentally reacted to 3 seconds of, right? A lot of our show is members only. After our live streams are over, what doesn't make it into a clip is paywalled. It's members only live stream after the fact. Let me tell you right now, guys, any single one of you watching, lovers, haters, whatever, fans, whatever, whoever you are, feel free to react to as much of that content as you want. Even if you barely comment on it, even if you barely transform it, we don't give a fuck. Why? Because we actually care about free speech, right? Anna's been criticizing the right wing justly for some of their anti-free speech hypocrisy, but here she is threatening channels that are 1/100th the size of the Young Turks. Literally, they have
I was going to add, even if you didn't get permission from the Vanguard there, that doesn't matter. All right, because if you are taking that copyright content and you're transforming it, the copyright holder does not have the right to claim that they're going to nuke you because you're suddenly trying to criticize them. And that's what I like. If it applies to fucking Disney and Marvel, it definitely applies to the Vanguard. I'm going to be honest with you, because that's absolutely ridiculous. This is how you prevent a giant corporation from silencing you if you want to say this is shit. I think this Star Wars movie is shit. I'm going to play a clip to prove to you why it's shit. Here's a 5-second clip. That was shit, right? That was a shitty clip. Boom. You don't need the permission from the original copyright holder in that regard. And TYT can't be like, but it was behind a paywall. Come on, people had to pay to see that. And I assume the two of you aren't the ones who are paying members who are watching hours of their content to find a clip. It's like anyone else, like me. People send it to you, right? Or you see it on Twitter, or you react to it.
We have some really dedicated people that do a lot to keep tabs on TYT, people who, are longtime listeners that are very frustrated, and they'll be like, you guys can't miss this timestamp. Here's a link in our inbox. And we're really grateful to those people. But no, I very rarely am, combing through the back canon of the Young Turks. You know what I mean? It's not something that it's more of a means to an end. And kind of like your question earlier, right? How do we feel about rising so much off of the back of the Young Turks? We were like, to be honest, they did it to themselves, and we're just happy to be the
and to be clear, I'm complimenting you. I think it's fucking awesome because I think honestly those grifters needed to be exposed. The whole like the Polymarket Studios presents the home of progressives bullshit. As like there's a percentage of people who genuinely are going to be watching their propaganda articles and their fake ass news reports where they're just trying to get everyone scared that Venezuelans are coming to stab their mothers in the fucking ass and shit like that every day, and actually believe this is leftist shit, right? Like there needs to be a vanguard that is actually going to direct someone who might be looking at one of those videos being like, oh, apparently Venezuelans are dangerous and they want to stab my grandmother, and actually see like, oh shit, no, those people were lying and they took one isolated case that no one's on the other side of. Like no one's like pro, stabbing. I'm not for people stabbing people's grandmas, but I'm obviously like, that's not a problem that's happening all the time, right? Whereas like, maybe Black Americans disproportionately getting arrested compared to white Americans for using drugs happens a lot more. Maybe racial profiling happens a lot more. Maybe these are the things we should talk about that the mainstream media doesn't. Isn't that the point of like, alternative leftist media?
And I just can't get over the blatant hypocrisy of the fact that for over a decade, 15 years at this point, Ana Kasparian has been reading articles that were written entirely by people that were not employed by the Young Turks. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot of effort to put out a real article. Like, I always bring up my girlfriend. She's a reporter for the local NPR affiliate, and she works damn hard. She's at the library right now meeting with a person, and then after work today is going to go to another thing at the library to hear about a highway that was built 35 fucking years ago. But you know what I mean? It's hard work to do all of that, and they don't even so much as shout out the journalist that wrote the article that they're referencing. They don't so much as plug these people, right? But yet she wants to go and throw a tantrum about how people are stealing their content. And now I think we could all do better about plugging the journalists that write pieces that we cite on the show. I'm not saying that Ana Kasparian would be uniquely at fault for that, but the level of fucking shamelessness, right? It really reminds me of Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein back in the day used to be a diehard defender of fair use and the ability to react to shit. He'd be like, it's YouTube.
Didn't he have a trial over it, or he got sued for that or something? Like someone,
and he won back in the day, and he made a legal trust for people who are going to be able to use it. And then when he got so pissed off about Hassan haters, he immediately flipped the script and he was like, we're going to sue anybody that reacts to too much of H3's content. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Also, I mean, even like we're talking about this from a copyright perspective, I was saying that, anyone who loves us or hates us, feel free to react to our content, even if it's paywalled, even if it's members only. Why? Because I care about free speech. And that's true. I do care about free speech, but I also couldn't imagine not being able to answer for anything that I've said, right? There's nothing I say on the show that I won't defend or that I'd be embarrassed to hear played by another channel and reacted to, even if they're critical of it, right? I stand by
or correct if you're wrong.
Right. Or I'll correct it if I'm wrong. Yeah, I have no problem doing that either. So even if there was something that someone reacted to from a members only live stream that Zach and I were like, oh, thank God that was members only and it's not going to get out there. Well, it got out there anyway. Who cares? I can apologize, right? I can say, hey, it's necessary to put forth a correction here. What is so bizarre about this is that Ana seemingly wants to be able to hide behind this section of the show. She wants to have this 30 minutes of bonus members only content where essentially she's unaccountable for what she says. And I've just realized that actually, this threat against us is technically in a members only part of the show. So this was not posted to the Young Turks main channel for their viewers to see. No, she wanted to get away with playing this in the members only bonus section of the show, so that people could not respond to it. Well, guess what? We're doing it anyway. So I guess, come after us. I guess this is war. So throw the copyright strike at us. Let's see who YouTube sides with. But it's pretty pathetic for a channel with 6 million subscribers to be threatening two guys living in Kansas City with a channel that doesn't even have 100,000 subscribers. Like that would be like us threatening or copyright striking a channel with 100 subscribers. That's literally the difference in size between our channels.
Also, isn't it just her hiding behind the members only section? Like, what the fuck is this? What are we doing here? Like,
well, Jake's out of town right now.
Is that why? It's just kind of like, hey, by the way, you're never going to be able to call us out because we said that in the members only section. You're not allowed to clip it. It's only for members. It's like, I don't know, just if you want to talk shit, talk shit.
Like, right. And like I said, this got posted on Twitter. So like, how the fuck are we supposed to know? It does say members only, admittedly. So, you know, to be fair, we realize here, but a lot of the stuff we've reacted to that was apparently bonus content or members only content, like, again, it just gets posted on Twitter. You're telling me that we're not allowed to react to this clip right here. That's literally what you're saying. She's saying we're not allowed to react to this clip that was posted by Hank on Twitter. I don't know who sent it to him. I don't know where he got it. Right. So someone paid for it along the way at some point, I guess, but now we can't react to it, even though they're talking about us, even though they're threatening us. I think this is relevant to our channel. It's relevant for our audience to know about. Not that the other stuff we reacted to isn't, but specifically this is, obviously.
And you're transforming it. You're not infringing on the original copyright holder's ability to make money off their product. I mean, like I have been taken down by so many giant companies over the years of making YouTube content that I've gotten, like, I should stipulate, none of this is legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. Nothing I say is actually legal advice. But I will say that, like, I learned the hard way by battling companies like Netflix, Sony, etc. What they are looking for when it comes to fair use, it's called fair dealing in Canada, but fair use in the US is effectively, are you infringing on the copyright holder's original ability to make money off their product? And if you are criticizing them, the answer is no. Like, if you take Anna's content and then you play a certain, like, 15 or 30 seconds of it, and you're like, here's why she's lying, this is why her argument sucks, this is why she's shit, this is why blah blah blah, you're transforming the original purpose of that content she made to criticize it. And you should be able to do that, because if you don't, how do we ever hold the more powerful accountable? People who have infinitely more power than us, you know?
And it's crazy because as she's simultaneously talking about how the left is pro censorship and how the left is pro, like, pearl clutching, and the left is pro, you know, canceling people, and how that's why she's had to run to, you know, the Iced Coffee Hour and Ben Shapiro show and, you know, Glenn Beck to find reasonable conversation. Meanwhile, she wants to stir the pot. She wants to say a bunch of shit, and she wants to not have any retaliation for it. She doesn't want anybody to be able to correct the record, right? And you can't. And we're at a really critical time for free speech in America, right? I cannot bring up the Mahmoud Khalil case enough, right? I really hope I'm pronouncing that gentleman's name correctly. His wife is from the heartland.
It's a turning point, though. It is a turning point.
It's crazy. His wife is an American citizen that was based or grew up in the heartland of America. They moved to New York City because he was attending Columbia, right? Crazy to just rip that guy's green card in half and say, get out of here. You're going to Louisiana, and then we're not even going to charge you with a crime because of speech. And now you want to be splitting hairs about fair use laws to avoid criticism from a news network. That's the other thing that's baffling about this. Say whatever you want about Sony or Marvel or Disney affiliates. They are trying to make money. They only care about making money. TYT wants to give you the veneer of progressivism. They want to tell you they're a news outlet. They want to tell you that you should donate to them, not make an exchange of goods, not get something out of it, but literally subsidize their existence because they are trying to do a net good for journalism and for the news. That is a bridge further than being like, oh, you reacted to the Star Wars movie, right? Oh, you reacted to like a 5-second snippet of my album and said, I hate it when artists do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. That is different. And I mean, it's baffling.
It's also the basis of all of TYT. Like, how many clips of TYT have you watched where it's like, here's Tim Pool saying a thing I disagree with. Here's the clip. And then, Tim Pool's an idiot. Here's Steven Crowder saying a thing I disagree with. Steven Crowder's an idiot. And so, like, now it's like the Vanguard's doing that to you. They're like, yeah, they disagree with the thing that you just said. Are they not allowed to? Suddenly the rules don't apply? Like, you're going to go nuclear on them? Seriously? No, that's ridiculous.
We got to hear this one more time. And since Hank did post the video too, let's see how high quality that is.
He is insane for not copyright striking channels who take our content from our members only bonus episode, which is intentionally behind a paywall. Just a warning to those channels, we will nuke the fuck out of you. Okay, if you're gonna like content from paywalled, members only content. Just want to say that. Anyway, weird to start with that, but like, come on, guys. Like, bounds of fucking reason. Okay, like, it's insane.
She's so not intimidating.
People steal our content all the time. We don't do anything about it. But when it comes to paywalled, members only content, like, we're giving people exclusive members only content. That's part.
Also, I do have to say, Potential shout out to Jank because she seems very frustrated by the fact that TYT has not been copyright striking us. She's like, I can't believe that TYT doesn't already do this. So it does seem like someone else, potentially Jank behind the scenes, is more aware of the actual copyright guidelines, and he's like, it's probably not a good idea to try to do this, Anna. Like, this isn't a good idea, a good way to fight this fight. But she wants to just bring down the full force of, I guess, their status as a big YouTube channel with lots of connections, and try to take down small YouTube channels who want to criticize them based on this, alleged violation of TOS or copyright law. It's crazy.
She wants to call our manager. That's what she wants to do. She's going Karen Kasparian, and she wants to call our manager. And that's the thing that pisses all these people off, right? That's why Rokana gets into our replies, because we don't have a boss. You don't get to tell me how I'm allowed to talk to you. And these people fucking hate that because they've had their ass kissed by press forever. Like, I'm sorry, I was never going to get hired at any of these publications. The only shot I ever had at being heard was for my buddy and I to start fucking screaming into the internet. And yeah, not everything I've said has been aged perfectly, but I'm happy to answer for it. As like Gavin said, right? I would be like, hey man, this was my thought process at that time, bro. And I said it passionately because I only say shit that I believe at that time, right? And if Anna was like, you know what, guys, I really feel like I need to walk back what I said. I was really going through a personal crisis at that time, and I lost my fucking marbles for 18 months. I have nothing. I'm going to go to therapy. Whatever she says, she comes back, and then she starts making based commentary again. I'd be like, fuck, dude. She must have got RFK's brainworm on a hike with Jank, and now she's back to reality again. But we wouldn't continuously lampoon their content unless they deserved it, right? And they can't constantly run around saying that they're the biggest news outlet on YouTube, the oldest news outlet on YouTube, the only one with progressive values since before Barack Obama, whatever stupid shit that they used to advertise, and then turn around and be like, no, we're not a news organization. We're a private media company that's gonna, fight tooth and nail to make sure that our, content never gets out. Like, that's just a direct about face.
It also just seems like a classic example of, like, if you resort to these sort of threats, like, you're not winning the debate. Right. Who in history has ever won a debate by threatening their opponent to, I'm going to copyright strike you out of existence? Like, no, like, just come on. It's
desperation. I like you said she's not intimidating though. It's like every person I've ever seen in a Wendy's yelling at the staff because their order was wrong, and it turns out they got more than what they originally ordered. It's like losing it. Like, but I got there's 2 fries. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Either way. Oh, sorry, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. I was just gonna ask Lance. You mentioned that they're desperate. Do you think that they're going broke? I think they're going broke, dude. I don't know another way to explain the Polymarket Studio thing.
So that's what I said. I was like, whatever they're doing, they fucking suck at it. Because there's people who do what they're doing way better. There's people who tried to play both sides. Like, okay, good example. Glenn Greenwald kind of has one foot in the free speech for everyone, aisle, but another foot in the whole, I think you criticize, Democrats and liberals way more than you'll ever criticize Republicans or the right on that issue, right? Even though both sides do fucked up stuff with free speech. Matt Taibbi's really bad at it. Matt Taibbi is just like one of the worst people in the world for I have principles. No, you fucking don't. I don't know what they're doing. No one likes them. No one on the right wants to play ball with them. They're not grifting to the right successfully. They're not grifting to the perfect enlightened centrist successfully. But the Polymarket Studios thing, like, the left wouldn't stand for that. Honestly, you would get fucking torn apart by the rest of your progressive fans, leftist fans, if you were like, this is wrong. You're promoting a cryptocurrency gambling website that can be directly manipulated by the people who stand to fuck us all over. Elon Musk has his own tab on Polymarket Studios. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a tab where you can bet on his tweets. So a man who owns an insane amount of cryptocurrency, can manipulate the Polymarket market any day he wants, just by how many times he tweets, what he tweets about, all that shit. This shit is fucked up. Like, it's a really
not even legal in America.
Promote. Yeah, you got to go to Canada. You got to use a Canadian IP to use Polymarket Studios because it's banned in your country. That's true.
It's the cherry on top. And yeah. I don't know if you saw the clip. One thing that just adds insult to injury, right, is Jank is at Hassan's house for Janksgiving, as they call it.
Oh, I know. I was shocked that I got the call out and y'all didn't. Like I got way more call. He was like nebulous about you too. He's like, oh, you know, the Beavis and Butthead over there making all their blah blah blah, and he's like, and Lance of the Serfs. Why do I get called out by name? You know their names. I know you know their names.
For you, we are gum on the bottom of Cenk's shoe. He actually considers you a real person. But like,
I'd rather be called Beavis and Butthead. They were awesome.
Honestly, it was great for our brand. His nephew turned down $1 million to do what Cenk did. I guarantee you, for less money and more brazenly. They were just going to sponsor the one election night stream for $1 million. And Hassan was like, bro, do you think I'm an idiot? Why would I take that money? Like, I already make fuckloads of money and I do it with my principles, right? You know what I mean? Like, why would I be so dumb? Why would I be so short-sighted? And it really revealed to me that Cenk is just a god-awful businessman. He doesn't see down the road very well. He's very, I don't know. I mean, he always bets on the wrong horse, it seems.
Yeah, I genuinely, I don't know what they're doing. That's the only reason I think you would try to. If you genuinely think that Charlie Kirk is more worth your time to sit down and have a beer with than Sam Seder, you've lost the fucking plot. I'm sorry, you've lost the plot. Like I get debating people, I get going on shows with people you disagree with, and I also get making mistakes. Like I've aligned myself throughout the years with people who turned out to be absolute dog shit human beings, and I had to drop them or call themselves out and apologize for it. Right? Like you don't know what someone's going to end up being in terms of like online figures or shit like that. I understand all that, but I would never sit here and be like, I have more in common with Charlie Kirk than I do with Sam Seder any fucking day, even if I disagreed strongly, which I don't really disagree that much with Sam Seder. Fucking Charlie Kirk's a white supremacist. The guy wants to eliminate fucking LGBTQ plus people from the earth. Like he's like the enemy. These are bad people. This is not a man I want to have a beer with.
And the fucked up thing, too, is that Cenk crucified Jimmy Dore for basically doing exactly this a couple of years ago. Jimmy left TYT and then embarked upon the right-wing pivot. Cenk absolutely crucified him for it at the time, went hard against Jimmy. Obviously, Ana went hard against Dave Rubin a few years earlier than that. And I think that's why they actually failed to seamlessly pull off this right-wing grift, is because they spent literally the previous 5 or 6 years calling out other people for doing that. Again, some of the best TYT content was actually Ana exposing what Dave Rubin did and saying, no, this actually wasn't about ideology. Guess what it was about? He wasn't getting paid enough at the Young Turks. He had an issue with the size of his paycheck, hence his pivot into a more profitable lane, right? They called that out. They crucified Dore. They crucified Rubin. They articulated perfectly what was actually happening. And then they just want to do it themselves, like, 90 fucking days later. It's so wild.
Yeah, I don't know where this is headed, honestly, because again, I haven't been looking at the numbers. I don't know if their subs are plummeting from this or people are loving this new lane or whatever, but it's like, it just seems like Matt Walsh hates them. He's made videos on how they're grifters. Laura Loomer hates them. He said, don't trust them. They're not here to be friends with us. Fuck them all. And now the left hates them too. Like most leftists are like, you guys are sellouts. Like,
well, here's the thing. That's why he has to go and hang out with Dr. Phil. That's why he's doing Merit TV specials. That's why Ana Kasparian is a regular with Jillian Michaels, who gets like 5,000 to 10,000 views when she's grifting to the right with a celebrity platform. She is absolutely untalented, right? All she could do was humiliate fat people on camera for a living and call it motivation. You know what I mean? That was how she got her bag. Right. And she's not somebody that's equipped to provide analysis on any given situation. And she's not funny. So nobody cares what she has to say. Right. And then you have that's the people that they reach out to. Ana Kasparian doesn't even get main shows when she goes on Megyn Kelly to agree with her and be like, look at this left winger who also thinks trans people suck. And, the left has gone crazy. Right. She doesn't even get main showed there. OK, she's not even a big draw on the Piers Morgan show, except for when he used her as a pawn to call out Dave Rubin, which he knew would get a lot of clicks because Piers Morgan at least understands his racket, which is getting attention on Piers Morgan's show.
He's Jerry Springer. He's the Jerry Springer of the internet now. And
Cenk missed his opportunity to be that Jerry Springer of the internet, and now he doesn't have the opportunity to be the home of progressives anymore. So now he's going to Europe for 2 weeks to look for financing. Probably, I don't know what he's actually doing. He said he's giving some talks, but it's crazy. I don't know. He can't come back.
Speaking of what you said about the Jerry Springer thing and how Cenk could have kind of existed or coexisted with Piers Morgan in a similar lane. It kind of brings me back to the episode that resulted in you parting ways with the network, and you essentially going from being a contributor on their panels to someone who's essentially persona non grata at the Young Turks. And that could have been the start of that panel dynamic, right? If they had said, hey, it's true that some of the people at the TYT family don't agree with Anna's opinion on birthing person and yada, 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 all this other stuff. Let's actually hash that out. Let's actually make this a platform for discussion, for debate. I don't think that even as progressive as the three of us are, we wouldn't disown a commentator like Ana Kasparian for having a different opinion on something like that if she was willing to hash it out in a respectful way. I wouldn't declare
or even have a conversation, about it. Yeah,
if she just was like, hey, I feel different. I have some hot takes. Zach and I battle our chat sometime over stupid shit, like whether or not it's acceptable to say the R slur and stuff. Like, we have hot takes too. We're not perfect progressives. We're not perfect leftists. Of course we're willing to debate hot takes. But if you just shut out all of that discussion, smear all of your critics, lie about everyone to your left, even people like Sam Cedar and Emma Vigeland and Francesca Fiorentini, well, then that's an issue. But they didn't have to be that way. They could have taken that moment and said, hey, you know what? Anna did get a lot of backlash for this drunken transphobic tweet.
Oh, yeah.
Let's invite those people on to hash it out.
To be fair, I never called her a Nazi. I never called Cenk a Nazi. They say that all the time. Like, you disagree with 1% of what I'm standing up for trans rights, and they disagree 1%. And just Nazi. I was like, no. Everyone was so respectful. We had baby gloves on because we were like, well, they're the home of progressives. We don't want to shit on our own. We don't want to be spoilers. We don't want to be the people who are like going after the left from the left, right? But everyone was like, hey, by the way, the majority of the LGBTQ plus community and like the majority of trans people are saying this ain't it. And if we're supposed to be like, we care about standing up for their rights and fighting on their behalf because it's cis people that are oppressing them, maybe we should listen. That's like, that was how I was wording it. It was like, it was so, at first, right? It was so nice, so polite, so like,
the only people that were mean were us, you know what I mean? And that's our brand, so that's okay.